Hey, welcome to the Outback Workshop. My name is Andrew Taylor and I like to make cool things. Today I'm going to be making BMO from Adventure Time. I am a huge Adventure Time fan and I was looking for projects to sculpt. Anyway, came across BMO, thought, hey, that looks pretty easy to make. If anyone knows anything about sculpt, you're probably laughing at me right now because BMO is pretty much a completely artificial shape. Trying to get all of those smooth surfaces and perfect corners is an absolute nightmare. It took me a lot of effort. On the one hand, I learned how to smooth surfaces and try and get square shapes. On the other hand, it still looks terrible because I tried to make an artificial... This would have been a lot better project if I'd just 3D printed it. Because even if I'd 3D printed it, it would have been super easy to model in 3D as well. It's pretty much just a box with some primitive shapes on it. Anyway, here I am throwing down some basic clay on the, what's it called, the banquette, the armature. This time around I'm using monster clay, which I found I really liked. Of course, trying to model at 4 o'clock in the morning is a horrible idea, especially with monster clay. Monster clay cools down pretty quick when it's 3 degrees. But anyway, I still really liked using it because when it is cool, it's quite easy to shape. It's also quite easy to warm up if you've got a heat gun or something. So here I am just trying to get the basic box shape down pat before I start killing myself trying to get it all flat. I'm still messing around with a lot of different tools to see what works. Here I am just trying to shave down the surfaces. It was very much an iterative process of just trying to sort of smooth, build up, smooth, build up, smooth, build up. It took quite a bit of work. Basically just kept working around, not getting stuck in one area. Trying to get the right angles on the edges was a challenge. And trying not to leave behind thumbprints after everywhere you work. So time jumped a little bit. I spent a lot of time just sitting on the couch watching TV, squaring this thing up. And just checking the size on my printout. Now I heated the monster clay up in the microwave. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but that's what I did. But the inside gets a lot hotter, so you basically just dig in there with 2 fingers to find the soft stuff, because the outside's still quite hard. This was a plan I had to try and put a smooth surface on the front and not have to dig out the entire screen. Didn't quite go to plan, but it worked in the end. Still just squaring things up, one little square edge at a time. Here I am foolishly grabbing out my calipers trying to get actual dimensions like some foolish person. I did all this like intricate measuring and then I ended up just winging it. Yeah, getting the screen out probably would have been easier done if I'd done it before I stuck it on. Makes sense. Either way. I had a lot of fun trying to get this. I think from now on, like I do the 3D printing a lot as well. And I've started using ZBrush a lot. So any of these inorganic shapes, definitely better to be used 3D printed. I really like using the clay though, and I think it serves more of a purpose in the realm of organic modelling. So if you're doing let's say a human or a monster, something that's got, those imperfections add to the character of the piece, then you'd go for it. But for something like this, where it needed to be smooth and everything else, yeah, it just didn't work. So I finally blocked out the basic shape of him. You can see I've got it pretty smooth there. I've just started adding some turpentine to smooth it out. See, I hadn't done this before, so this is going to completely ruined it, but it seemed to work alright. So you basically just apply a pretty decent coat of turpentine and then hit it with a sponge, and that seemed to take off all of the imperfections and edges and things. Probably the funnest process of the whole part, actually. You just sort of throw some turpentine on and smash it with a sponge, and it looks pretty cool. A bit of a close-up. I think we're back early in the morning. Spent a lot of time on and off doing this. So just hitting it with another layer of the turpentine, trying to get it cleaned up. Eventually you just get to the point where it just doesn't do anything though. You could try adding a more liberal coat, but one trick I did learn later on though was that the heat gun gives it quite a smooth finish. So when you get close to sort of that finish you want, hit it with the heat gun and it sort of softens everything and smooths it out. As long as you don't hit it too long and it starts running. I find that you get a bit of distance with the heat gun and it does quite a nice job smoothing things out. So still going. Now, just to get this basic shape was about 3 days worth of work. If that's any indication about how much I was pulling my hair out by the end. Now, eventually I just pretty much gave up on it because there's just no way I was going to get this thing sort of where I'd be happy with it. Especially seeing as I could just spend a couple of hours modelling this thing in 3D and printing it out on my printer. But it turned out all right, I guess. The basic shape was good. Here I am trying to put the buttons on. Even the buttons though, like rocking the Marvel pajama pants. I was just trying to get any time I could in on this thing. But even the buttons, quite challenging to make just because they're such a man-made controlled shape that when you any slight difference in line or widths is just so noticeable. I think at this point I was just overworking the back. Okay, buttons are on. Now I'd cut the arms off originally just because they were in the way for me trying to get the thing smoothed out, so I'd cut them off. And here I am just adding them back in. At this point I'm just trying to get it done, get some little arms and legs on him. So yeah, I just push the armatures back in, let's just throw on some clay on the legs. Making sure he stands up is important. Now I didn't end up moulding this one or anything because I think, yeah, if I wanted a finished piece that I was going to paint and everything else, I would print it. Yeah, you can see me hitting it with the heat gun, just trying to get everything softened up because, yeah, again, most times I'm working at this thing at some ridiculous hour of the morning, and we're winter here in Australia, so it is cold. It's pretty cold. We're getting down into the 3s and 4s, sometimes even the 0, so clay does not want to respond very well to me playing with it. And here we are, almost done. I sort of phoned it in a bit on the arms and the legs, but by the end I was just overworking this thing. So, second sculpt, move on to bigger and better things. That's me for now. Look forward to the next video. Peace out.